Hey guys, I'm back. Mike Robert here. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to like and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be going over a tree service campaign that we've been working with for a client to generate more leads and phone calls. And this particular campaign was a part of the hurricane that happened in South Carolina. Nonetheless, we also have very similar areas that weren't affected by the hurricane that have gotten very, very good results with a lot of the leads that we're bringing in. So what I want to cover in today's video is I'm not going to go into the ad specifically and show you the ads we were running or the ad copy, but I will talk about some of the things that help us generate leads for this client and some of the things that you can look for as well. And then obviously, if you're a business owner and you're struggling to get high quality leads, you can book a call. There's a link with us, link in the description below. Okay, so let's go into this campaign. Now, we didn't start this campaign exactly around September 1st. This particular client actually relocated because of the hurricane. They're from Maryland, and they went down to South Carolina to help out. And I think it was around mid-September or so, they said, hey, let's get set up over there. We want to get leads in that area. We're actually one of their best lead generators. They work with a couple of different vendors, but we've gotten information from them, not just for this, because we've been working with them for a little over, I would say, a year and a half now, but we're one of their best lead generators. Now, I want to talk about the strategies that we implement with lead gen for our clients as well throughout this video. So as you can see on here on the screen, we were able to generate 83, and it's still running, but 83 leads on Facebook, okay? Average cost per lead, $7.78. I did mention that this was through a storm period. So as you can imagine, the demand goes up a lot more. This doesn't include about 40 or 50 calls that we had coming in. I have to check call tracking metrics to get the exact number in this same time period, and we're still running it. So I'm just running a 90-day period, but we still ran it in December, and then we're now January, New Year. So we're still running this campaign. Important things to consider and to think about. When we initially set up this campaign, we still had to test different ads and creatives because we saw a slightly higher cost per lead. So in many cases, when you open up a new campaign, that can happen for a variety of factors. In this case, one thing that I see a lot of businesses don't think about is external variables. Obviously, the obvious is the storm, right? But in that same aspect, what if people are without power or they want to limit their access to the internet because they have limited power available, right? So they don't want to just spend a lot of time on the internet. They want to save as much as they can because they don't know when they can charge their phone or their computer or whatever. So that variable will play an effect on your campaigns because people may not be ready in that moment to start responding for these particular services, right? Tree service. Maybe they're looking for another home service company because it's more of an urgent matter. Okay. In this case, there were a lot of trees down and affected like that. And so it really was a very quick process. Our initial ad that we set up did not do as well. It took some time for it to grab, I would say maybe like a day or two. So what we quickly did, we saw, okay, let's make new creatives. So creatives, I've spoken about this in the past, is where you're going to have multiple ads and different variations and different looks. And the reason for that is because you don't know how your customer or your leads are going to be interested in your business. So some mistakes I see businesses make is they'll have one image that they probably bought from Fiverr, made it themselves, right? Use Canva, something like that. And if it doesn't work, they say Facebook doesn't work. But you have to test multiple creatives, right? If we opened up our Facebook image library right here, you'll see over 1,000 different images, not just for tree services, but for a variety of services. In tree service, you'll see over 100, right? Because we need to, every market will be different. So we need to constantly have a Rolodex of images and some video that we can test that will be very, very intriguing to our target audience. All right. So that's what we did. We did find a winning ad for this area. And in some areas, that winning ad is not the same in others. So this is one of the reasons why when people might comment and ask, hey, show me the ad copy, you'll be surprised that you can probably run the same thing in a different location and not get the same results for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons is due to the Facebook ad ID. Facebook will associate that with your specific post. And when people try to copy and share it, Facebook typically has a diminishing return aspect built into the algorithm that doesn't give it the same type of results. Okay. So although rip and running might work in the short term, that means you rip someone's ad and you take it. In the short term, in the long run, it won't work, right? It will fizzle out. So that's why you need to understand how to effectively communicate to your target audience. But to be very honest, it's basic communication. You don't need to oversell this concept. I mean, in this case, with emergency related issues, it's really about being present, right? So if you're present, people are going to find you. One of the things that I will mention as well is that when there are storms and situations like this, if you are a business that runs ads on Google, I would highly encourage you to test Facebook, because this is obviously a very tragic situation, right? A lot of people are affected, but in many cases, people will go to be on the internet a lot more at a higher frequency. And so the way Facebook works is it tries to take a lot of user data and push them into their algorithm feed for what businesses may be promoting, because they're going to have an interest on it, i.e. keep them on Facebook, right? So, well, not i.e., but basically keep them on Facebook. And that's the idea, keeping people on Facebook so that they can respond to your business. So as an example, if you have a lot of Google search going on and you're a business saying, hey, we need to get our Google ads up, that's not a problem, but you're going to be paying a lot of money, a lot more for clicks and leads, right? Where you can get them at a reduced cost on Facebook. And the thing here is, these are people that obviously need your service, right? So you obviously just have to communicate to them and sell to them. Now, some people might say, Mike, that's just leads. What are the actual results? So this business, in the 90-day period, roughly 90 days, I had a talk with one of their estimators. He loves the leads that we're able to generate them for their business. We've actually been working with them, I think I mentioned earlier, for a little over a year now. And one of the things that he said is, when we get a lead from you guys, because we have our company name on the SMS that goes out, he's like, man, it's almost a layup. It's a really good lead compared to other sources that we're working with. They're a pretty big company, so they have a couple sources, but it's a really good lead. Now you're seeing here 83 leads on Facebook. I said earlier, we had about 40, 50 calls. I have to check the exact stats and call tracking metrics. This particular campaign was about a 94% book rate. So out of all the leads that came in, naturally, because this is more of a storm situation, we had a very high book rate. So that's where what we did was we have our VA team, right, that will follow up with the lead. So that's where we get a person on the phone, we find out the situation that they had, and we will book the appointment. So that's where we get the name, address, and phone number, and then we send it over to our client. And that comes over to them in a text and an email. So we wanted to streamline this process. We didn't want to just leave it up to chance, because one thing in this area, cell signal is very spotty, okay? The other thing is that they got a lot going on, that they're boots on the ground. So a lot of businesses where they fail with Facebook is they try to do it all themselves. And let me tell you, being on the marketing side, I'm not even on the service side, it's not as easy as I'm making it seem. Okay, there's a lot of different things you have to look out for, and landmines, and knowing about. Obviously responding to comments, people that might jump in the messenger, inbound calls that are coming in, new leads that are coming in, right? So some days we would get 3, 4, 5, 6 leads, right? And you have to follow up with these leads right away. So we created an automation system that when a lead came in, what it would do is it would send an instant text and email to each lead. The obvious is, hey, we got your information. One of our team members will be reaching out to you shortly. And that's where we could follow up with them. And when we're giving them a call, they know why we're giving them a call, right? So they're not surprised by that. Sometimes you might have ran Facebook ads in the past, and guess what? You couldn't get the person on the phone, right? And the reason you can't get them on the phone is usually people just, for whatever reason, forget they just filled out a form. Don't know why. But that's why when we can send them a text and an email, they know why they got the call, why they got the text, and so forth. So understanding the process of how you set up a campaign is important. This particular business, over $200,000 in revenue. I do think a large portion of that was because of the situation in a 90-day period. Not that it's impossible, but this is a local area. What I'm talking is about a 10 to maybe 15-mile radius. We're not going 30, 40, 50 miles where that's easy really to do. We're in a very tight knit area, but a lot of it is storm relative. Now, in comparison, we do have other areas that have generated very similar amount of leads, but not, I wouldn't say 200,000 in revenue. I would say maybe 100,000, 120,000. And for the most part, average ticket, 2,500, some $5,000 jobs, and then obviously some bigger, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 jobs in there too. And then people that wanted to wait, maybe they had to save up for some additional cash to get the job done. It also, many of you might know, and a lot of insurance companies did back out from paying for these types of services due to their assessments. But outside of that, I would say that Facebook is a very, very good platform to generate leads. One thing that, and I referenced this earlier, that a lot of businesses struggle with is systems, right? So anybody could set up a Facebook ad. That's really not hard. Mark Zuckerberg have made that really, really easy for businesses to do because it's a money grab, right? The less you know, the better. But in this case, if you know what you're doing, right? Or if you have a good understanding, you're working with someone that says, hey, we know how to set this up and get this working the right way, your chances of success are a lot better. So what we did for this particular client, rather than saying, let's do something, which we do still use Google Ads, but rather than saying, let's really focus on Google, in comparison, when we had the storm in Austin, we had a freeze. This was 2023, right around March or so. I would say for whatever reason, the demand was similar, maybe a little higher, in my opinion. But I would say that the cost was much more, right? So in situations like this, it's something to consider because your objective is to minimize costs as much as possible, right? And still gain as many or the same amount of customers. So Facebook is a great platform to do that because there's more of a demand and people are searching all over the internet for it. So Facebook is going to be able to attribute some of that user data and then start getting your ads into their feeds. I would say the ad itself, without showing it to you, tons of engagement. Let me just show you views, which it's not impressions, but views, 27,000 views. It's saying here. There was one thing I wanted to show. Clicks. Let me see if it gives me clicks. Yeah, clicks, 369 clicks, right? Cost per click, $1.75. So in my cost per impression, 23 bucks. Those are very good metrics to look at and understand because this tells you if your ad is engaging with people. We had about 80 or 90 comments on this ad. And this is just off the top without actually showing you everything. Lots of shares. And those are really good indicators, right? You need those factors in there so people can ask questions. And this is what I was talking about before. If a business is trying to do all of this on their own and you're already not short staffed, but maybe you're an owner operator or you have your family, your cousin, your brother trying to do this or whoever, it really gets left to the wayside. So the beauty about comments that a lot of people don't realize is, number one, there's a strategy to keep increasing engagement. Engagement is good because it keeps people on the platform. And a side note is to think about maybe a video that you watch, could be unrelated to tree service or unrelated to marketing, it's just a video, but you see a lot of comments or engagement and likes. The natural reaction for you to do is you don't even care about the video, you're looking at the comments. Now, you may say, well, how does that apply to lead gen? Well, people oftentimes make a decision based on other people's opinions. So if we're getting other people to engage and say, hey, well, I need an estimate. I've got, 5, 6 trees down. When can you come by? Here's my phone number. I sent you a message. You have all this communication going on. That's when someone is going to turn around and say, oh, we need this as well. Or my friend needs this, and they'll tell their friend about it, right? Something like that. And already they're doing the local search in the area. So these are ways to enhance on Facebook. So I don't want to be much longer with this. I think you guys got the idea here. This is just basically a case study. We help this business with without going into the ads, but I did give you a lot of information when it comes to the flows, the leads, understanding how to follow up with them, effective communication, effective, not just on the phone, but effective marketing communication, sending them messages, responding to comments almost right away, right? You try to get to them, 5-10 minutes if you can, messages that come in, phone calls that are coming in. So there's a lot of different moving parts, right? And then in other areas, so you might say, well, Mike, yeah, that's a storm, of course. No, in other areas still, same very metrics, very close. Maybe we had lead costs that were, I think, a little less or maybe a little bit more. It's not going to be a huge difference, but in terms of lead volume, we have lead volume coming in. So that means that we have leads from consumers that are interested in tree services, right? And what we would do is we would call them, follow up with them, see what they're looking for. If they had a service that met one of the things our clients were looking to do, we'd say, great, we'd set up the appointment with them and then send it over to our client. So, and our clients are having a lot of success with it. So it works very, very well. At the end of the day, you have to assess what may work better for your business. But other than that, appreciate you guys being here today. If you have a comment, drop it in the comment section below. Talk to you guys next time.